Well, shit. There's a bunch of y'all here. I'm gonna do a shot. These are gel shots. So I'm gonna do a shot, and Zyla, hey mama, I'm doing a gel shot. They're not quite as good as Jello, but mm, it's peach. But cheers to be on the read. I don't know most of you, so I don't know if you know anything about me or if you looked into anything about me before I came. But if you haven't, I am an MC author who also writes really dark, like ridiculously dark. But I also write MC that has become ridiculously dark. I am an old lady with a man who's in an MC in real life. So he's been in MCs for 40 years, I think. You love the dark? I've got some dark. You love dark and MC? The darker the better? Oof. Well, I've got some super dark and one duet that's like pretty much, I thought it was dark, then people told me it was horror. So it's Illuminati based and it's really, really twisted. If you don't like twisted, don't even. The really good dark twisted series, I would say, would be Beautiful Evil. And the three of my series all kind of cross together. They all have one common thread, which is a character named Jordan Bishop. The Beautiful Evil series is his younger life, but you can read any of them in whatever order. I'll start answering the questions, and then that might spur different conversation or more conversation. Because one of the questions is what made me decide I wanted to be an author. And the funny one is they gave me a crayon and I started writing, which is almost true. I started writing in like first grade. I won some kind of an award for writing and I continued to write. But the thing that really pushed me, and it goes with what I was getting to, was 50 Shades of Grey came out, and I've been in the BDSM lifestyle for 20 years. And that book just kind of, it made the hair on the back of my neck stand up on end. And so I decided, you know what? I'm going to do something. And I'm going to write like a real story that is from my perspective. And granted, it only became one. I got sidetracked. It became one. There's supposed to be a follow-up to it about the way I became a daddy's girl slave. So it's the journey towards it. There's sex involved and stuff like that, but it's not what most people would look at as BDSM. Um, yeah, it made me want. I mean, it was good. I read it. It was way too much sex for me and way too many big words that I had to look up, or I just was like, so no, it just wasn't my thing, and it was so far away from reality. My Not Even Death series, it's kind of sweet, but it's sweet sad. It's done like P.S. I Love You meets 50 Shades. A master has died, and his slave is coming home after the funeral, and she ends up finding this package, getting this package, and he's set all these things into motion for her that will help lead her to her happily ever after. I don't write too much with the happily ever afters. And when I first started, I thought there were all these rules I had to follow, like to be a romance author. You know, I got to do this and I got to do that, and I can't have more than one dude in a book. Like, oh my God, really? Why? So I broke these up into four novellas, and they really are the entire journey of one girl. This kinky, it just builds. And two of those guys are in my master's MC. The third guy in it is known as the Bishop, and he's a hard ass. He's a sadist. He's a retired Marine captain. And so somebody asked me, like, where did you find a dude that gets off on tears, and like, is this somebody you know? I'm like, no, but let me find out what his psychology is. And so I took a deep dive into his psychology, and I came out with a really fucked up dude and a series that is predominantly it's dubcon, maybe dubcon. It's a very interesting. He's a predator, and then he makes his way to the BDSM lifestyle. He encounters my dudes from my MC and helps train them. So it's like everything is kind of like twisted together. So, you can read them in any order. Okay, so who's my favorite character to write and why? That's a really, really, that's like picking one of your kids. A couple years ago, I would have totally said that Marine dude I was just talking about, Jordan Bishop. I would have said him just because I was like possessed. I say obsessed, other people say possessed. So my character Cash, I really love writing him too because he's like this dude who was like grew up in a 1% club. Colt grew up in a 1% club. Those are the two main dudes of my MC series. And Cash grew up in California, and he's a sadist also. He gets off on when he fights. It gets his dick hard. When he gets his dick hard, he's got to use it. If he doesn't use it, he's going to go kill somebody or he's going to get into another fight, making the circle, go. So I dig him, and I dig him and his old lady Barely. I love their connection. Um, so I love Cash, and he's just got that like Spicoli, like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, like dude, oh my god, those little fucking chicks are hot. So he's got that kind of thing, and so I dig him. He's fun. Barely is just off the rails, little Cajun firecracker, and so I love her. It's really hard, and I'm really getting into this dude Sundown, who's just a total asshole and hot, and I would just want to climb all over him. So you love Cash? Yeah, Cash is your dude, right? Cash and Barely together, like, oh, okay. I want me some of that. I just want to like be left alone in the compound with them for a weekend or 10. Wow, chicka wow wow. Okay, so I hope that answered and it was clear as mud. Okay, so am I a planner or a pantster? I bet you could guess just the way I'm doing this live is I am a pantster. Foremost, mostly. I have an idea of what has to happen in my head when I'm writing, and then the characters will take off on their own and say, haha, that's what you thought was going to happen. No. And so that's kind of, Dasher, get back here, dude. So that's kind of like what happens. Like, there's a male scene, and it's like a prison sex kind of scene. So it's not like lovey-dovey, ushy-gushy. It's like one alpha trying to piss on his territory over the other alpha. And it's really hot. And I had no idea those dudes would go there, and yet they did. So fun things come out when, I'm a pantster. I mean, sounds kind of like a panther or a hamster. Well, see, now this is prison sex. It's not in prison, but it's prison sex because the one dude has been in prison. Yeah, they take over, and sometimes it's better. I mean, that scene, that the prison sex scene, I couldn't get over it for like a couple weeks. Hired me to write. Gosh, let's see. Music inspires me to write. So nothing, specifically, you know, uh, has, inspired me and said, hey, this is your thing. You need to do this. I have to be creating all the time. Like, if I'm not out on the bike or at the clubhouse or sleeping, I'm pretty much doing something creative. So, it's it's just something in me. But music, and then the things that I experience out in life, being a biker and going to all kinds of bike events and kind of just sitting back and checking people out or the people I interact with, people keep ending up as characters in my books. So, different guys in different clubs or now in, my club and my books. So, music and life in general inspire me, whether it's good, it's bad, it's angry. This last book, the Fuck the World book, Masters MC number 3, that was written on complete and total rage and anguish. So that all that shit, everything's inspiring. Okay, my favorite trope to write, I would say MC. I don't know if I'd say MC romance, but MC dark. There is romance in the first two Masters MC, but the last two, the one I'm writing now and the last one, it's romantic on a deep level. It's not, oh, boy meets girl, boy falls in love with girl, they live happily ever after. It's not about that. So, I'd say MC in general, anything with BDSM that I can mix in there, I love that. Anything dark, psychological, thriller, suspense, all of that. So that's kind of, I know it's very broad, but as far as starting books with me, I would say any of the 3 series. It just depends on if you want to dive MC first, do the Masters MC, do those. I gotta figure that out because the third one, yeah, you can still do the first. You can do the Masters MC and then do Beautiful Evil, and then the lightest would be the Not Even Death series. If you wanted to build an intensity, you could go reverse chronological, but you really can't screw up as long as you read each series in order. What's my favorite book I've written? I would have to say the last one, the Masters MC, Fuck the World. My favorite holiday is Hello Thanksmas because I can't decide like that. I just think it should all be one big thing that all goes together. Lights everywhere, music everywhere, lots of good food, good colors, and yeah, Hello Thanksmas. Somebody on here asked if I liked what I liked better, the beach or the mountains. And I used to be a real beach girl. And then I moved out west and I became a mountain girl. Then I came back and I wanted to be at the beach because the beaches in California were like, but I fell in love with the mountains. And then I hated going to the beaches because there were so many people, and so it just became this thing every time I go to the beach. So now I like the country and the mountains. So we've got what inspires me to write, and I touched on that before with music. Right now, the main thing that is inspiring me to write is Zakk Wylde. Black Label Society, Zakk Wylde. He looks like my character Cash. And his songs, he's got the heavy shit, and God, how talented that man is. But then he's got like the softer stuff that just rips your heart out, and it goes with my main character, Colt. So, yeah, Zakk Wylde right now. Last book was Five Finger Death Punch predominantly. The first Masters MC was almost entirely Allman Brothers and Leonard Skinner. The second one was Hailstorm and Pretty Reckless and that kind of thing. So music, my playlists are so important when I write. What I do. Well, how about I was a nurse and then I became an author? I was a nurse, and while I was in nursing, I was also becoming an author. And then I had to leave nursing for some physical stuff. In a perfect world, I'd have both. But really deep down, I just want to be a rock star. What can you expect from me as looking forward into the future with me as an author? God, I have no idea. I have no idea what to expect. I know I'm going to do more Masters MC. That was my plan from the get-go.